Welcome back to Road to 2000, where I try to reach 2000 for the first time ever. Today we're going to do some Puzzle Rush. Alright, so the first few are usually quite easy back rank type tactics, or checkmate in one. Nice little checkmate here. Check. They take, we promote. Although they kind of get to promote too, but then there's a tactic at the end of this. Oh, okay, they didn't let me show it, but there was a skewer tactic where we were going to be able to check the king on this square, and their queen was here, so we were going to win the queen. All right, I reconstructed the position to briefly show you guys. So after we promote, and white promotes, now we get this check, skewering the king and the queen, and then after the king moves, we scoop up the queen. Checkmate in one. Another checkmate in one. Another checkmate in one. I'm also not feeling super well today, so today's video is going to be very chill and relaxed. And I'm definitely a little, I got a little brain fog and haze today, so I'm not seeing the solution to this one right now. So let's talk about the ingredients of this puzzle. That's my new teaching phrase. So at some point we might have a check here, but for now the knight defends. We can maybe take at some moment and then maybe take. We can maybe sacrifice at some moment. This rook is hanging, but I don't really see a way to like attack it. So yeah, if we take, they take, we go check, they come up. Oh, then I guess we win a bishop there. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, mate in one. Took me a second on this one. Bink. There's kind of a lot going on, so you're looking at like queen trades and stuff, so it's a little distracting. Okay, loose pieces drop off. Notice that this knight is hanging. Are there any checks that could win the knight? Boom. Check, and then we scoop the knight for free. This is a classic Puzzle Rush tactic. Has to do with the weak back rank. First move, check. King goes to the corner. The back rank is weak. How do we take advantage in that position? We go check. They take. Checkmate. Okay, I think I see the answer. I'll give you guys another second to think about it. So notice the board is very open. The king is exposed, the queen is exposed, and the king and queen are on the same diagonal. Is there any way we can exploit that? Bishop here, pinning the bishop. Pinning the queen with the bishop. They throw in a check, but we can just sidestep. And we're winning the queen. Okay, this one took me a second. It's a checkmate. It's a checkmate. Let's see, is there any way I can give you as a hint? The first move is a check. So, you should consider the sacrifice, but they just take and then you don't have anything. So what other checks do you have? There's only one other one. Bishop check from distance. And then when we recapture, that's actually a checkmate. The king is stuck in the corner due to the knight. Okay. I think I got this one. I'll give you guys a few more seconds to think about it. So remember, loose pieces drop off. That's a saying I got from Daniel Naroditsky. I highly recommend his channel, by the way. If you haven't checked out any of his speedruns, they're incredible. I started watching one of the more recent ones. And loose pieces drop off is crucial to help you find tactics in games, as well as actually solve puzzles, because it makes you aware of, okay, I should look for a tactic here. And so our rook is undefended, but the bishop and queen are kind of vulnerable here. So how can we solve both of those problems? Our rook is under attack. These are vulnerable. What's the move I'm thinking of? So rook to d4. Severing the queen's defense of the bishop, and we win a bishop. Okay, this is basically the same as a previous tactic. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to think about it. So anytime you see this lined up pressure in Puzzle Rush, it's almost always going to be a check here. And the thing you have to realize is that our bishop is controlling this square. So even though there's not a pawn shield anymore, there's still back rank issues. So we follow it up with the same mechanism. Check, checkmate. Okay, this is a mate in 2, I believe. First move is not bishop check. Number 1, it's not going to lead to mate because they can block. Number 2, you're hanging your queen. So I'll give you a couple more seconds. It's mate in 2 in this position. Queen check. Only move they have to block. Oops, then we take. Checkmate. This is a nice easy mate in 1. This is what I call an iron cross mate. Queen here, and I call it an iron cross mate because it's kind of like a little T. This looks like a tasty bishop. And then after we open the H file, looks pretty deadly for black's king here. Oh wow, they have to actually give up the queen. Okay. If you guys are enjoying the video so far, drop a like. Really appreciate it. Really helps support the channel. Ooh. Okay, I'll give you guys a few more seconds to think about this. This is a nasty one. So notice the king doesn't have a lot of squares, so that should immediately be the warning sign that you should look for some checkmating ideas. Like, yes, you know, we have pieces under attack and maybe there's something else. Oops. Oh no, shoot, that was just a misclick. Oh god, okay. Okay, let me open it up for you guys in a separate window. So the move is mate in 1, knight e2. This knight controls the corner square. This pawn controls this square. Nothing stops the knight. It's not letting me move. Okay. Checkmate. All right, let's go back. So unfortunately, we've now used one of our 3 strikes by accident, but that's okay. I want this video to be on the shorter side anyways, you know, not 45 minutes, so. Okay. I'll give you guys a few more seconds to think about this one. So white has back rank issues. So see if you can exploit that somehow. See if you can exploit it in a forceful manner, because you can't just do this. They take your rook. And then if you take, they take, and then they're up a rook. So you gotta be careful how you do it. How can you forcefully exploit the back rank issues? So if you said queen takes rook, that is unfortunately not correct, because white can recapture and you don't have any mates. They don't even have to take in that position. So the correct move is to nab the other rook for free. They can't recapture because then you check them and then checkmate them. Like so. Okay, I haven't solved it yet. We can take this rook for free with check, but then they block and our queen is under attack. Also, it's worth noting our rook is hanging. I considered like maybe some sort of sacrifice, but I don't see any follow-up there. And I guess the issue is if you take and then rook takes, your rook is hanging and your queen is hanging. So how do you solve both of those problems? Or can you? I don't know. I'm still debating. Oh, savage. Okay. This is the correct first move. And you need to find the follow-up. So rook blocks. I'll give you a few seconds. And then I'll give a hint. Okay, your hint is that the back rank is still very weak. You need to find a way to exploit the back rank in that position. The move is rook f1 check. It would be mate, so they have to take it, and then our queen takes checkmate. So the full line is we're going to take the rook, they block, check. Rook has to take. Queen takes mate. This is a savage move right here. Boom. Okay, I think I got this one. This is pretty similar, has some similar themes to the last puzzle. Give it some more thought. I'll give you a few more seconds. So notice this rook is doing a really good job of hemming in the white king. So there's sort of back rank issues here. Okay, one last hint. This involves a bit of a sacrifice. All right, you ready? Queen takes check. The king, if the king moves, we're taking with mate here. So queen takes check, rook takes, and then what do you guys play? Check, and mate soon follows. So check, they take. Check, the king would be mated here. They have to block, and then we just deliver a nice little checkmate. Okay, so first thing I noticed is we have queen pointed at the king. Therefore, this bishop is pinned. So how can we exploit that? Well, that means both these pawns are basically, well, really this pawn is basically undefended. So we have a check. We can take this pawn for free. Does anything good happen after the check? Yes, it does. So after check, the king has to move to f1. And then what's the finish there? Believe it or not, it's a mate in 1 in that position. And the move is queen h3, checkmate. So queen h3, the knight is controlling these squares. Game over. Savage. Okay, this is a nice one. I'll give you guys a few more seconds. Hit number 1. The king is very hemmed in here, isolated in the corner. Usually that means you're going to look for checkmates. Hint number 2, sometimes you need to sacrifice some material. Sometimes you gotta break an egg to make an omelet. So how can you deliver a check in this position? So you could check this way, but king takes. You could check again, but king starts to run. So it's not queen takes, it's a different check. Knight g6 check, that would be mate if not for this pawn. So pawn has to recapture. And then what do you guys do? Does it matter which square you guys go to for the checkmate with the queen? Yes, it does. We'll see why in a sec. So if you go here, then you lose your queen. So you have to go queen h4, but this is checkmate because the bishop is hemming in the black king, and so do the pawns. All right, I got this one in like 2 or 3 seconds, but I'll give you guys a few more seconds to think about it, and then I'll give you a hint. All right, hint number 1 is look at the amount of firepower we have near the king. It's a lot of firepower. The king's very isolated here, very lonely. So it's probably a checkmate. So let's look for checkmating ideas. You can't go queen here because of the knight, but what else do you have? So yeah, this one's pretty natural and flowing. So first move, bishop check. You should always look for checks and captures first because those are the most forcing moves. So check. The king has to move. Okay, so now how do we add even more force to the attack here? Don't go knight check because they're going to take, or they could take. So how else? Boom, check. Basically mate, they have to block, and then we checkmate them. Ooh, okay. This is a very special one. I'll give you guys a few seconds on it, but if you've never seen it before, you probably won't be able to solve it. Okay. Well, I'll give you a little more time. This is a really tough one. You can, if you haven't seen this before, pause the video and really take like 2 minutes or more and really try to see if you can solve this puzzle. It's a pretty out of the box solution. Okay, first, so hint number 1, this is a smothered checkmate. Smothered mate. This is a very special moment in your chess career if you've never seen this before. So give it some more thought. How do you solve this? First move involves a double check. So the only double check I see is knight to h6. So let's go ahead and throw this on the board. So only move after this is the king has to go to the corner because, yeah, you can't block double checks. The king has to move. Now here's where the magic happens. So it's white to play. Really give this some time and see if you can find the solution. And the name is telling. The name is a hint. So smothered checkmate. I don't think you guys are ready for it yet. So the next move is an absolutely mind-blowing move. So give it a little more thought if you've never seen this. Okay, are you ready? Okay, one more hint. It's a queen move. It's a queen move. It's a mind-melting queen move. You ready? Queen to g8 check. Seems absolutely insane. Doesn't black just take? What's the point of queen g8 check? I hope the puzzle doesn't skip it. I'm going to throw it so then you can actually try to really visualize it. So the rook comes here, and then what do you do? It seems like you just gave up your queen for nothing. What's the point? Remember the name of the puzzle, guys. Smothered mate. Smothered mate. So queen comes here. Rook takes. You might be thinking we take the knight, you take the rook, but I mean, we just gave up our queen. Surely we need to do something better than that. Knight to f7, checkmate. Knight f7 is checkmate. The king is completely smothered. There's just nothing here. There's nothing else for it to do. Absolutely incredible. One of the most beautiful things in chess. Let me go back a few moves. So the way you can know for the future that you might have a smothered mate is that the queen and the knight and the king are all on the same diagonal here. And if you have this double check idea, you might have a smothered mate. It doesn't always work. It depends on the position. But so check, king moves to the corner, check, and then checkmate in this position. If you enjoyed that, guys, make sure you drop a like on the video. The first time I saw that, someone showed that to me, I was just like mind blown. It's just incredible. Okay, I think I solved this one. Give this one a little more time. They're starting to get pretty hard now, so. So checks and captures. So this capture looks pretty juicy. Free knight with a check. So we take, king comes up, and this check looks pretty juicy. But then king comes here, and you have to evaluate, is there any mate in that position? And I think there is. So if you want to give it some more thought, go ahead and pause the video. The line, I believe, is check. King comes up, check. King comes up. You have to find a check here. And it's hard because white's pawns are controlling these squares. So I think queen to d3 check is the best move there, and maybe the only valid check. And then the only move, I believe, for the king is king b6. And then there's a maiden 1 in that position. So the line one more time is check. And then the final blow, I believe this is checkmate with the queen, because the rook is here defending. So yeah, notice how we can't check here, it's undefended. We can't check here because of the pawn. We can't check here because of this pawn. So this is the only check I see. And then yeah, after the king move, there was a mate here. All right, and I'll show you the end of that line. So after queen check, only move, king has to come to b6. And then from here, maiden 1, queen to a6. Not rook here because then the king can slide out. So it's important to move with the queen. And this is a checkmate because our king helps block in the white king. I think we might just go to 30 puzzles and leave it at that. I don't want the video to be too long, and they're already at a nice hard difficulty now, so. Okay, I haven't solved this one yet. I'm looking at these checks. The issue is the king can slide out. So if we go like check and they block, then they're in trouble because yeah, takes, we're winning a rook. But if we go check and they try to just run, do we have anything there? So it's also worth looking at some sacrifice ideas. So like maybe this rook takes, king takes, and maybe there's something loose. But I don't see anything. We should also consider queen takes f3 here, but because it's a check and a capture, but you know, it's a forcing move, but I don't see any follow-up after. If check, they can just run, and we don't have our queen, and we're in trouble. Okay, maybe it's a quiet move. So if check, king comes up, how can we increase the pressure of our attack in that position? Or how can we create a threat on the white king? So the move I'm thinking is maybe queen e2, because then we have a battery with pressure to take on h2, which would be checkmate. And if they try to block, then our bishop can maybe take. So check, king comes up, queen e2, I think is the answer. Let me do a little more thinking. Because you have to look for, you know, counter threats or defenses from the opponent. All right, looks good. Okay, but they go for the wrong or the easier defense. So here we just take, and we're winning a rook. Okay, this one's actually not too hard. I'll give you guys a few more seconds to think about it. So we're down a queen. Here's a hint. We're down a queen. So we need something pretty decisive. And as always, look for checks and captures. Look for the most forcing moves first. Our rook is hanging. Oops, sorry. Our rook is hanging. But is there a check that could perhaps defend the rook? There is. Bishop h3, check. The king is actually basically mated there. They're going to throw some pieces at us, but this is basically checkmate. So they block, we take, they block, and then now this is officially checkmate. Okay, we'll do, yeah, two more. We'll do this one on 29. That's it for today. Actually, this one's too easy. We'll do 30. So this one we want our pawn to promote, but the thing is, if we just like come up, then we're still in the pawn's way. If we come back and we let the white king get in front of the pawn, it's actually a draw. So we need to box out the white king like so. And actually, yeah, we need to do one more square. If we don't go one more, then like if let's say we try to move the pawn here, they can squirm around, and we don't want our king in front of our pawn. So we need to box them completely out, and then we would push the pawn after that move. So I'll show you guys the end of this line in case you've never seen this before, because maybe you're wondering, you know, after we go king here, like can't the white king run around and get to our pawn? But the thing is they just don't have time actually. So after king d3, our pawn starts running. And by the time the king gets to it, our pawn gets to safety of our king and is ready to promote. So this concept is called key squares. So this is the key square in this position, which I learned from a book called Amateur to IM. That's all about endgame. In the book, he actually said that both of these squares are key squares, which always seemed weird to me because like if you're here, it's not necessarily a win. The concept of a key square is if you can get your king onto that square in like a, you know, pawn endgame or whatever it is, if you can get your king onto that square, then it's a winning position. So once I get my king here, we know that we're winning and the pawn can get here in time. Unless, for example, you know, the white king was like already over here or something. You know, it depends on the context. But in this situation where we're trying to box out the white king, this is the critical position you need to reach to enable this push. Okay, so this one and then one more and then we're done for today. At least in this video. I'm going to do some more other chess stuff later. Okay, I haven't solved it all the way, but I think I know where it's going. So first thing we should evaluate are these checks and captures here. One of them is more forcing than the other, though. So if we take here, the king could go either direction, and I'm more worried about the king going to a6 and then sliding out this way, because we go check, the king goes here, and then how do you follow it up? You can check, but then king slides away, and then I think you're kind of out of ammo. So intuitively, it feels to me like this is the stronger check because we're defending our pawn. The king can't go here because of this pawn, so check. The king has to move to b4, so that's a very forcing move. So that's your first hint, and keep evaluating the position from there. Okay, so next move in that sequence, I believe, so after queen takes, king comes here. Next move, I believe, is queen takes b6. This knight is hanging, and we take with check. So then try to evaluate that position. This is a really good one for your calculation skills. And that might be the end of the puzzle, I'm not sure, but yeah, if takes, check, or sorry, check, king comes here, we take with check. If the king takes our pawn, what do you guys play in that position? There's a really good move in that position. And you got to look at the whole board to find this move. Check. Check. The move I'm thinking of, rook a1 checkmate. That would be checkmate. But they don't have to do that, so after check, king comes here, we go check. They can also come to c4. Do we have anything there? I think we might, so check. King comes here, check. c4. Again, I think we want to bring the rook in to the action. We need another piece to help aid this attack. From there, the king has multiple moves. I think they could go to any one of these three squares. And if they go here or here, I think we're going to take this pawn. But if they go to d3, maybe rook up check. And they have two moves there, but either way, I think then the queen is going to swing in, and this might be a mating idea. I know that's a lot of arrows for you guys, but this is, to me, there's kind of two aspects of puzzles that are really valuable. One is, also this is a fresh concept of mine that I want to throw out there as a teaching thing. So my two aspects of chess tactics, one is ideation, which is like seeing different types of ideas and having those tools, you know, way back in your brain that you've seen before that maybe you can deploy in the future. And then the second aspect is calculation, which is what I'm doing now, where like, okay, this takes and this takes and this takes and this takes, and you're trying to really keep track of where everything is on the board and see how deeply you can read into a position. Those two skills are kind of separate in my view currently. And this one is really good for the second one. So calculating. So check. King comes here. Check. King comes here. Check. King comes here. Check. Let's say king goes here. I believe this is checkmate. Because our rook will be here. The black king will be here. Our queen is here. The rook's defended. The king can't go here because of the pawn. The king can't go here because of our rook. Game over. Okay, they ended it early, but but we saw the whole line, so if I was correct, hopefully I didn't make a mistake there. But all right, final puzzle of today. Let's give it some thought. I'll give you guys a few seconds. I'm still working on it too. Okay, I think I maybe got it. Hint number 1. Look for ways to attack the king. So, we have a pretty dominant position here with this knight. Is there any way we could ramp up the pressure and attack black's king? So if you go knight in, they're just going to take you one of 3 ways, and then I don't see the follow-up, so that's not it. How can we bring either the rook or the queen? We need another piece to come help aid the attack. So first move, I'm thinking, is queen to h5, but then they block, right? So yeah, if they did nothing there, we would have a checkmate on this square. So they try to block it, and they're also attacking our knight. But while doing this, something else happens. So give it a few more seconds of thought here. How do you follow this up? So notice they left their knight hanging, but you have to calculate, because if we take their knight, they take our knight. So then what do you guys do? So we take, they take. I believe now our other knight swings in, and we still have a really strong mating threat that if it's not unstoppable, they're going to have to at least give up material. Yeah, I think they probably have to give up their queen for it. So we take. Knight comes here, and no matter where they put this rook, I think it leads to a checkmate in the corner like this. So I think black actually has to give up their queen. Yep. And that concludes today's puzzles. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to catch future episodes, and I will see you next time. Thanks a lot.